recipe for great food is simple. Make it fresh. Wings to go in Greenville, where every order is a custom order made with fresh ingredients. Wings to go, 7818 Wesley Street in Greenville. Simply great wings.
Love your car or truck? You'll love it more with a new sound system from Super Sound in Greenville. They've got all the hot brands like JL Audio, Alpine, Hyphonics, Pioneer, Rockford Fosgate, Kicker, Heiss, and more. And great technicians to do the install. Super Sound in Greenville, 5013 Wesley Street. They make sound move you. Super Sound and Security.
.30, and I'm going to open the special session for the City Council meeting on August 17th. Let the record reflect that zooming in is Mr. Turner and Mr. Ransom, and Holly is not here yet, but all the other council members are present. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I'll open it up for citizens to be heard. On citizens to be heard are invited to address the council on topics not already scheduled for public hearing or listed on the agenda. Present your completed citizen's comment card to the city secretary. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should conduct themselves in a civil manner. The city council cannot act on items not listed on the agenda in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Concerns will be addressed by city staff. They may be placed on future agenda or addressed by some other course of response. At the microphone, please state your name and your address. Anybody wish to speak? Carol, we have any cards? Okay, at this time I will close these citizens to be heard. We'll move down to item 4. And for item 4, I want to talk about public testimony. Public testimony occurs when citizens are invited to address the council on topics already on the agenda. Speakers will be invited to speak at the time the council discussion for the item. Present your completed citizen's comment card to the city secretary. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes for each agenda item. At the microphone, please state your name and address. Okay, the first item that we've got is consideration and action on an ordinance amending and restating the ordinance 20050, calling a bond election to be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, which is a uniform election date. This comes about because as the bond was passed at the last council meeting, once the words were written based upon what the last motion that was made and was recorded on the city secretary's recorder, how we distribute the money or what the bond would actually say was different than what I and others thought that it should be. So I called a special council meeting so that we can clarify it. This is not a matter of whether we pass the bond or not. This is a meeting to talk about an amended bond. And the way that the bond, and Daniel, tell me if I state this incorrectly, but the way the bond is written originally, or what came out of the meeting, is that it was for Roy Warren and others. It said including the Roy Warren Parkway, which means it could be for any area of the city, but it included Roy Warren, but the money could be used that was left over after Roy Warren, if it was used for that, could be spent anywhere in the city. The problem with that is it would say if the public turned down that motion, then for 3 years, we couldn't put out a certificate of obligation for road work.
Yes, that's correct, for any road work.
For any road work anywhere. And what this change that's been requested, what it does is it gets rid of including the and makes the improvements for Roy Warren Parkway. And what that means is out of the $4.5 million, if there's money left over from the actual work done on there, then it can be used for the remaining part of Roy Warren. So where we have dips and valleys in the existing part of Roy Warren, any money that's left out of the $4.5 million could be spent on that. But if this is turned down where it says this, then we can't bring up Roy Warren for 3 years, but the city is free to ask for road work on other things through certificates of obligation.
Yes, that's correct.
So is there any questions on this?
I'm concerned we'll have extra money that has been borrowed that we're paying debt service on that we don't have, we can only spend on Roy Warren?
Yes.
Well, you can spend it on two things. Number one, you can, pay it back to get rid of that part of the debt service. So say we borrowed $4.5 million, we only spent $3.5 million. You can put that $1 million back against the debt.
Okay, so we're allowed to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then number two, you can spend it on the rest of Roy Warren, but that will be up to the council at the time.
Okay. As long as we have an opportunity to pay the money back or use it on something else that's needed.
No.
No.
Something else
Pay the
that's
money
needed
back.
on Roy Warren.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But if I'm satisfied.
We can't use any other money on Wesley or on any other street. You got anything, Cedric, on that?
No, it's just, we already know it's not going to be any money left over. So just move forward with whatever you have.
Okay. Does any of our members that are zoomed in, do they have any comments they'd like to make?
Giving the citizens the opportunity to vote on this project. Interest rates have never been lower.
Tell him to
Steve
start
Adams,
over.
our financial
Jerry, can you start
advisor,
over?
Indicated that on this debt alone was less than 1 penny. We can't expect with all the everything that's going on with our federal government that our interest rates are going to be low for a long time. Infrastructure costs are going to go up. This is a great time to be doing this project. And in addition to that, we've lost, as all of you know, our power of annexation. And so it's a prime area for development in the city of Greenville. I think we have developers that are already interested in this and have purchased property in this area. So I'd like to make a motion that we can, Mayor, that we approve this for the November 3 ballot. I'm sitting in a parking lot in the car. I don't have my notes. I think it's November the 3rd.
Is there any way to increase that volume? Jerry, you're going to have to stand by. We could barely hear you. Summer was trying to move her mic. We're trying to get you more volume. Please wait a minute.
Okay.
Okay, Jerry, say something, see if we've got good volume on you.
Hello?
Much better. Now, could you start over, please?
Mayor, I couldn't hear you.
You could not hear me?
Did you say to start over, Mayor? I can't hear you very well either.
Yes, please start over on what you want to say on this.
Yes, okay. Well, project was featured in the recent Freeze and Nichols plan. As the roadway is something that we're going to have to do at some point in the future. There's never been a better time to do this. Interest rates are low. As Steve Adams showed us in the last meeting, the amortization on this debt would be less than 1 penny. I think it was $222,000 for the life of the bonds. And of course, we've lost our power of annexation. This is prime development property. And I want to remind the council that what we're voting on today is not to move forward with this project, but just simply to allow the citizens themselves to vote on whether they want to extend Roy Warren Parkway. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion. If there are no other comments, I can't hear either. If there are no other comments, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this item.
All right, it's too early to make a motion. I've got to open it for public testimony. When that's done, I'll ask you for a motion.
Okay, sorry.
John, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to second that motion.
Good. We'll get there. All right, at this time, I'll open the public testimony for this issue. Anybody wish to speak on it? Of course, being a public hearing. Paul, come on up. You got something you want to say on it?
Yes, thank you. I'm Paul Park, 207 Patterson Drive, Greenville. I think that this bond ordinance, as it's written, lacks transparency and is somewhat deceptive in its description. If you read this, it's talking about improvements to Roy Warren. People would interpret as improvements to the existing thoroughfare, not construction and extending the other one, unless you want to consider expanding a dirt unimproved road to a 4-lane thoroughfare as an improvement and not construction. The other one is the total cost is actually $7.5 million, although the bond asks for $4.5 million. I understand there's $3 million going to come from existing funds, $4.5 million in the bond, but the taxpayers should still know how many of their total dollars are being spent on this. As elected officials, you have a responsibility, I believe, and a moral obligation to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money and to tell them the details that go with it. Right now, they are not going to know what they're voting for. They're going to know a portion of it. If this is not revised, they will know. I intend to make sure they know before the November election. That's going to become one of my missions. And I intend for them to know who voted for and who voted against it.
Thank you.
May I address that? As one of the stipulations for bonds now, the city's required to put out a brochure that gives details, and that will be forthcoming.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else to speak?
As elected officials, we need
Give your
people.
name and address, please.
My name is Larry Ellis, 8580 Cedar Creek Lane. As elected officials, we need people who are smart and who are looking to the future. And I appreciate the fact that Dr. Ransom has proposed this because this would open up on Dent Road about 800 to 900 acres that this morning when we all woke up, they're paying ag taxes, meaning they're not paying zip. Our city is not taking in any money. And if we're going to fix the roads in North Greenville and repair those streets, we need some money. And if that acreage, if it became developed, number one, what's the developer going to have to do? He's fixing to have to pay 5 years of rollback taxes. So that's some serious money right there. And by the way, building fees in this town that a year ago were about $800 a pop, they're not $800 a pop anymore. They're $1,500 a pop. So if you get 3,000 houses in there over a period of time, just normal, regular growth, think how much money that is. And guess what? Impact fees are on the way. That's good. I'm a developer. developers should pay impact fees to help make our city better. Yes, I just said that. And when people walk up here and talk about their tax bill, well, that's great. I'm glad you got 1, 2, 10 tax bills in the mail. I got over 150 this year. So I'm going to pay my share, and I'm happy to pay impact fees. And we need to open up more land that will bring in more families into Greenville so we can have a target, so we could have other stores in our town. And I hope that you will consider this as looking to the future.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak? All right, at this time, I will close the public testimony. Jerry, do you still wish to make a motion?
Hold on before we make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
don't have the.
Wait a minute,
as I
Jerry.
mentioned-
Jerry, wait a minute.
Hold on.
I just want to address Mr. Ellis. The North community in Greenville is not lacking smart people. And the North community is not lacking on people on this council probably not doing something for the North community. Actually, that's what we're lacking on, something for the North community. So the problem is that the city need a plan, not to hope on something else, so that when that gets built up, you can come to the North community and do some work. Those same roads gonna need to be redone, tore up, but those same houses on there is no different in any part of town. We just need a plan as a council to address every district, not smart people just to work on the North community. So I want to just say that to you. I just felt that was a little bit disrespectful.
Any other comments? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
No,
before.
we good.
Any other comments? Now, John, or Jerry, go ahead with your.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Okay, Mayor Drying and council, I don't have the specific ordinance numbers in front of me. I'm sitting in a parking lot actually trying to get service, but I move for approval of this as stated with the amendments that are there.
And I think John wanted to second it.
Yes, sir. One more time again.
All right. Any other
City
comments?
manager, I'll vote for approval.
Okay, please vote.
Approval. There's my big thumb.
No, yours is working. Mayor's isn't. Mayor?
Try it again. There we go. And it passes 5-1, with Cedric saying no. Okay, the motion passes with the changed language. Is there any other issues to bring before the council? Tanya, any reason we need to go to executive session?
No.
All right, at 4:47, this meeting is adjourned.